What's up, historians and fellow ranters? Crimson Vow officially just dropped today, but wildcards are precious. So is this a set that you should be investing in? Well, we've been brewing some spicy Crimson Vow themed decks, and we're going to tell you just how well they've been performing. Coming up right now on this At Least These Vampires Aren't Covered in Glitter episode of Mana Rant. But first, I'm Hoshi, House Markov's handyman, Thalia's lieutenant's landscaper, and Crimson Vow caterer. And, as always, I'm joined by a man who must be a master of photo editing because there is absolutely no way he could be getting the wins that he's claiming or have met his wife on the internet. We have Drunken Dork.
Yeah, I am a master photo editor. You are right. But I'm also a master of getting those wins. And I actually met my wife on the internet. I may have edited my photos a little. I may have catfished her a little bit. But, you know, like at first I think she actually thought I was you. She's like, she was looking for me for a while. I just put your photos up all over. And it's like,
just put like your head on my body or something.
No. I put your head. You're kind of fat, so I put your head on my body.
No, so. my old photos, you know.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I at one point I look good, and it's decent. All right, so that brings us to our third co-host, the long lost co-host, Apollo. Where has the Apollo gone? Where has he been? We don't know. He's in C school. So that brings us to a good topic though, which is Happy Veterans Day to everybody out there, and thank you to everybody that has served or has served before or is currently serving in our country, the U.S., and any country out there. Serving is a tough thing to do, as I know, and as Apollo now knows. So anyways, thank you for joining us this week. We are the Mana Dorks, and you are listening to the Mana Rant podcast, where we talk about everything in Magic the Gathering, but mainly focus on the historic format. And it's a big day. The new set has dropped, and so we are going to talk about what we think about the main set, if it's something good for historic, and then we're going to go into like two spicy brews that we both came up with, and we're going to like really break them down because they've been performing pretty well. The breakdown of that will be in the episode description below. And now let's just jump right into the show with our Untap phase.
Untap.
All right, and Untap is where we open some drinks to start the show off with. Drunken, what you drinking this week?
So you actually beat me to it. I was going to say Happy Veterans Day, Hoshi.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
I appreciate it.
But just, same old thing, just drinking the kegerator. Shockingly, I still have more peanut butter stout. I'm terrified to feel the cake because I'm sure it's like light as a feather right now. I'm probably about to tap out.
I am very impressed with you that you did not just like burn that thing out in the first couple of days. So
yeah, pat myself on the back for sure.
That impressive restraint for you. I've seen you go through a lot faster, a lot quicker. So I'm drinking a apple pie old fashioned that Jamie came up with. So this looks pretty good. It's got a muddled apple in it, and other than that, it's pretty much an old fashioned with like a little bit more cinnamon in there. So let's give it a try. Oh man, that's really good. Oh yeah, this might have to be a new, this might have to be in the rotation.
I feel like you have a laundry list of a rotation going at this point, because pretty often she's on point with you, man. She knows your taste.
Absolutely.
pretty often she like makes you something you're like, ooh yeah, this is going in the rotation. Very rare does she make something that you're disgusted by. So
that's true.
Yeah, that last one last week with the marshmallows and stuff. I don't even like marshmallows, but when you said chai and smoky, I was like, yeah, that does sound good.
Yeah, it's great. She's just experimenting all the time. So and our bar is like just ever growing. It's ridiculous, dude. But yeah. Cheers, and cheers to your restraint, and cheers to everybody out there. So let's have a good show.
Cheers.
Woo. And with that, let's move into our upkeep phase.
Upkeep, get ya upkeep.
And upkeep is Reddit Rant, where we look to the internet for people bitching and complaining about Magic the Gathering, or maybe making a lot of sense. This week, we are going to Reddit, into the Magic Arena subreddit. I know we haven't been back to Reddit in a while.
Yeah, we haven't. It's been a while.
And so this week, I did not write this, by the way, for Drunken. If you think so, it might seem like I did. So I might be shaking my head, and I agree a lot while I'm saying this.
I already know that you didn't write this because the grammar is too good for you.
Don't get too excited. It's not that good. All right, so here we go. So this was posted by Agent Catbot, and it's why is play so slow? And so ever since the beginning, this has been an issue. I have been wondering though, how much is it the opponent's fault? This has also been the most frustrating part of the entire game for me. I'm talking about timers. I am not talking about you overly complicated blue players. You are cool with me if you can figure out how the resolve button works. This is slow is it slow internet connection? Mobile players? Slow server? Potato computers? Bad UI? Or are players actually sitting there drooling on their keyboards, trying to figure out how to drop a land and add a +1/+1 counter on their stupid white life gain creature for the 8,000th time today? This is it actually thinking? For the 15 to 20% of players who can actually play a fast game, I thank you. Let's meet up someday when times are reduced in half at least. So, Drunken, what do you think?
I always wonder what this person's what events had led them to this position right here where they feel like they need to post on here. And it's funny because on this post they have 69 likes. But no, where I'm going with this is I've been playing games recently. I've noticed people have been really impatient as of late. Yeah. For a long time, I had my emojis off because it was really raging me inside. I was I could not handle it. But now I just laugh about it.
Yeah.
And I've noticed people before the timer even hits, people be like, your go, your go, your go. And so when people start doing that, I kind of relax a little bit and I slow down and I'm if they're going to be impatient, they'll say your go and I'll just say hello, or I'll do the zombie wavy hand.
Yeah,
hey.
that's my favorite one.
And so I've been doing that a lot more. So, I mean, maybe they played me. Maybe they were this fucker's taking too long.
That's true.
And I generally don't, I feel like. I do sometimes, especially if I'm streaming, because I talk about my plays and stuff, and that's kind of where my mindset has gone now. Now that I have streamed online, is that I kind of give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're talking through their plays and they're streaming at the moment, and that always takes longer, right? Because you have to explain the card and why you're doing it, and so who knows what's happening. I'm getting way off track.
A little bit.
My point being is. I don't know how much patience this person has, and that's what I'd like to know. I'd like to know how many games in a row they played, or maybe they just don't like white angels. I think that's probably it more than anything.
I don't know, man, because I've been playing today, and for the most part it was going pretty good until I started playing. I did a draft at the end, and holy shit, dude. that was so painful. I played 3 games, and one of them, like, the dude was waiting until like the very end of every rope to do something. Every single play. Anytime that it passed priority to him, he was taking the entire time, you know? And it's like, dude, I started making misplays because I was just like, what am I going to do? Just sit there and stare at the screen for that long? It's taking forever. Yeah. So I'm starting to just do other stuff around my house. You know, I'm like doing the internet, like cleaning up my room and stuff. And then I'm coming back. I'm like, oh, is it finally, you know, time for me to do something? Like, and then I'm like so out of the game at that point because I can't just stare at him doing nothing forever. I'll lose my mind. So yeah, I read this one today and I was like, dude, I totally get it. But most of the time I think like players in Historic play decently fast, you know. I wouldn't quite and some of the comments in here mentioned maybe having like a speed queue, you know, like something like you know, like speed chess, how they like you have a certain amount of time to play, which I think would be interesting. I think that would really limit like deck options, you know, like like Rakdos Sacrifice ain't playing in that queue, you know. No. So that would be interesting. Like, but if you need to get like if you wanted to get your quick games in for a day, I think that would be a cool queue actually to have, you know, like do some speed ones.
Yeah, that would be cool. That's a good idea. Yeah,
maybe whoever has like the most life at the end of it or something, you know, maybe they can add up points in some way, like life versus creatures that you have or something like that, you know. That'd be interesting, I think. But
I'll tell you what you see a lot of in Speed Queue, your favorite deck.
Oh, mono red.
Yeah, mono red. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it would be an interesting queue. But all right. Anything else, Drunken, for this one?
I want to speak to what you were saying with draft. You know, that especially with the new set, you drafted the new set, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Draft
absolutely.
or sealed?
Draft.
Okay, yeah. So the thing with drafting a new set, it always runs slow because everyone's reading the cards for the first time. So I feel like that's the slowest it's ever going to be is right in the beginning. But even after that, I feel like draft runs a little slower. Like people's play patterns run a little slower because they're reading the cards still. You know, they're trying to understand. They don't see them all the time. But that's all I want to say.
And there's new players and stuff in there too. There's a lot.
Yeah,
like I think in Historic, we're used to playing against like a little bit more seasoned of a player. So when you go to something like that, you're going to be playing against people that are, you know, maybe new standard players or something like that. So yeah, it's I try to think like, you know, hey, yeah, this is probably a new player or something. And then like, I'm pretty good for the first like couple turns. And then a half hour has gone by. I'm like, would you fucking go? Like I'm over it. My patience is gone.
I feel you.
All right. Well, that was Reddit Rant. If you guys find a good one, send it our way. Apparently there was a great one, but sometimes they get deleted. So, you know, if we can't get to it in time, you know, take a screenshot of it for us and then send it in. Because sometimes people write really stupid stuff on the internet and then they get blasted and come to their senses and delete it. And we don't want that to happen. We want to save it forever on the internet. So take a screenshot of it and then send it to us.
Yes, please.
So we can make fun of them. All right. And with that, we'll move into our draw phase.
Let's draw.
And draw phase is normally where we go over like news of the week or you know, what we've been playing. But I think this week what we're been playing is like, you know, Crimson Vow today. So I think we're going to go over really like what has our experience been like so far just playing it today, because I know you've been playing a lot, Drunken Dork. I've been playing a lot today. I had the day off, which is great. So I've been I've been playing a lot. So what do you think so far about Crimson Vow? Like, is this a good set for Historic? Because a lot of people are kind of iffy about it out there. Do you think this is something that, you know, the Historic community should be investing in?
So I don't know if it's a good set for Historic, but I do think that this may sound really stupid. I think it might be a better set than the last one that we got for our format, for Historic. Yeah, I think there might be a few standout cards in this format or in this set that just feel a lot stronger than they did in the last set. That I think might like move forward onto like sets going forward. Besides those lands, you know, the lands in the last set were fucking great. You know, the man lands or whatever they're called.
Yeah, those were great.
Yeah, But yeah, I don't think overall, I don't think this is like a really impactful thing for our set. And I don't think that the standard sets usually are, besides Eldraine, because Eldraine was a beast, dude. That was like a legacy set.
That's like the one to like judge all sets by recently. Like, is it an Eldraine? Please don't let it be.
Yes. Well, it was really those 3 sets in a row, right? It was Eldraine, and then it was the enchantment set. What's that called? With Iroas and stuff like that.
Theros, yeah.
Theros, yeah. It was Eldraine, then Theros, then Ikoria. And all those sets were all in a row. Yeah, or Ikoria wasn't a great set, but it gave us the triomes, and then it also gave us the what are the champions? What are they called? The
companions.
Like Yorion,
where they had
companions,
they had to change the oracle text on those because they were
they had to nerf those things because they were too powerful. Yeah.
Legacy was like in ruins, and if a set destroys Legacy, it is way too powerful. So this is not on that level. I think we can all agree with that. But,
and it's probably for the better, I think, like, sure, it's not impacting our set, but like I kind of do want our sets to be impacted every 3 months because it'd make it more fun, but it's just really not fun on the wallet, No. But overall, I like it. I've been having fun with it today. Going forward, I don't think it's going to impact our format too much. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think it's obviously not a crazy powerful set, but there are some pretty good gems in this set, and I think we're gonna see some of them played a little bit. Like I found one that I'm like really in love with, and it's been performing really well. But
what's that?
The Welcomer, the vampire. That thing has been awesome so far. Okay. But nothing like super crazy, right? And I think that's a good thing for us actually, because we get a couple cards out of it. We get some more land options and stuff. But I think a lot of people getting into Historic are a little overwhelmed, and they're like, "Do I need to focus on this new set too?" So I think your packs, like if you're just talking about cracking packs or spending wild cards, there's a lot better other sets to invest those in.
Eldraine.
Yeah.
If you're just getting into it, just go straight to Eldraine.
That's
and fucking crack as many packs as you possibly can, because that set is going to give you the most bang for the buck, for sure.
Yeah, I think another really good one is like Kaladesh had some good stuff, but what was the desert one? I can never remember.
Amonkhet Remastered.
Yeah, Amonkhet is another great one where there's just a ton of good stuff in there. Like those old ones, those are great. So, yeah, I mean, maybe doing the mastery set and stuff for this one, but I don't think I'm gonna buy a bunch of packs for this one. I think I'm just gonna crack some specific wilds that I need. And unlike some of the other sets where I really like heavily invested my packs in there, like I saved up a bunch of gold and then bought a bunch of packs, I don't think I'm gonna do that with this set, because there's not too many that I really like need out of this one, but there are definitely a few that I want. So cool.
I mean, I think I pretty much got all the cards I wanted so far, and I haven't put any gold into any packs. I did the 50 packs ahead of time type of thing.
Me too. Yeah.
And I think that's all I'm going to do for buying packs, and then I've already won a bunch of packs today. But I did want to say, I was saying this pre-production that so the Crimson Gatekeeper, the card I picked last week, I made a vampire deck. I'm not going to be talking about it today because I don't think it's great, but it's significantly different than what Hoshi's is. And I put that card in there. I made 4 of them. And that card is a beast, man. That card, I think going forward, it is going to be really strong. I played against an aura deck, and I put one of their auras into the graveyard, exiled it with that guy, and just shut them the fuck down. They couldn't do anything because like that deck is just 1-drop auras, you know? So it was really, and enchantments, enchantment creatures. So it pings them for any of that. Yeah. And man, it's a solid card. And nice. What I liked about it is, or what I like about it in that matchup specifically, is they can't really deal with it. That deck, it does have a few cards that deal with your opponents, but most of that deck has no interaction at all. And just really, it really brutalizes decks that don't interact with your opponents.
Yeah, it seems like a cool card. Hopefully we can find like a a deck that it really belongs in that performs well. Yeah. So maybe a little bit of brewing, you can come up with something, man. Seems like a pet card that you're you're into. So sweet, man. Let's move into a main phase 1 and talk about your deck then.
Main phase 1.
All right, here we go. So take it away. What deck did you brew up this week, Drunken?
So going forward, going into this set, I knew I was going to be doing spirits because I liked a few of the spirits that the set was bringing. Yeah. And it's funny, my favorite spirit in here, I would have picked it when we were picking cards last week, but I either overlooked it or it wasn't spoiled at the point where I was looking. Yeah. And it has proven to be a really, really good card. Okay. But yeah, so before I made this, I was playing spirits.
I could guess which one you're talking about, but go ahead. I'm curious.
Yeah, but so before I made this deck, I was playing spirits pre Crimson Vow, and I was really liking it. I really like tempo style decks, and I think this actually works really well. And I have shown through our Discord, which if you're not part of our Discord, you should join. I have an 83% win rate with it, and I've probably played 20 plus games. Yeah, that's really good. Oh yeah. The card I was talking about is, what do you think it is?
I think it's Dorothea, the Vengeful Victim. I think that's the one that you're talking about.
Nope.
No?
No.
Right. What is it?
It is a Cemetery Illuminator.
Cemetery Illuminator, really? Okay, let's take a look at what that is.
So,
this one. Okay, yeah, this looked like an interesting card. So go ahead and read it.
Okay, I'm gonna go to a readable deck list because I'm looking at a very
I have it right here.
One.
So Cemetery Illuminator, it's a 3-drop. It's 1 colorless and 2 blue. For a spirit at Mythic with flying, it's a 2/3. And whenever a Cemetery Illuminator enters the battlefield or attacks, exile a card from a graveyard. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. Once each turn, you may cast a spell from the top of your library if that shares a card type with a card exiled by Cemetery Illuminator. Man, that is a tech soup right there. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty good, though.
So like I said, this is a tempo deck, and it really it revolves around casting things on your opponent's turn. You really want to get you really want rattle chains. That's the star of this entire deck.
Absolutely.
And Cemetery Illuminator just shines with rattle chains because you have a rattle chains out, you cast on your opponent's end step, and then you cast a Cemetery Illuminator after that, and you exile one of their cards in their graveyard. And if you exile an instant and you have an instant on top of your library, then you can cast it on their turn. And the only instants I have in my deck are going to be counter spells. So let me just go over my whole deck. So I have Spectral Sailor. I have 4 of those. I have 4 Curious Obsession.
Yep.
I have 3 Dorothea. Vengeful Victim. But I changed that to 2 recently because I felt 3 is too many. Yeah. I have 4 Rattle Chains, 4 Spectral Adversary, 3 Supreme Phantom, 3 Lofty Denial, 1 Jwari Disruption, 4 Cemetery Illuminator, 1 Faithbound Judge, and then 4 Skyclave Apparition, and then 4 Geistlight Snare with a Seagate Restoration, and then a whole bunch of other lands. Yeah. So it's basically like any spirit deck you'd see out there, except with the new cards, I think. And it really what shines in this deck is Geistlight Snare, because like I was saying, what is it? Curious Obsession along with Dorothea, because Dorothea becomes an aura. it makes Geistlight Snare a 1 mana counter spell.
Yeah.
A 1 mana mana leak. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That is
Mana leak, yeah.
It is so playable and so powerful in the format. It means like on my opponent's turn, I can hold up 3 mana. I can still cast, a Spectral Adversary, and then cast a Geistlight Snare and like to counter something if they're trying to protect my creatures. It's so good. Yeah. And then not only that, Rattle Chains also, if you cast that on your opponent's turn, you can, or you cast that whenever, it gives another creature hexproof. So the whole deck is like, it's resilient. I can counter board wipes. I can counter spot removal. I can protect my creatures from spot removal. I've actually won with the Faithbound Judge, the flip side of that thing.
Nice. Where that's where they have 3 turns basically before they die, right?
Yeah, they had 3 turns. That's and awesome. I had full life, and I was playing against a control deck, and they couldn't do anything to me. They kept wiping my board, and I kept getting cards back. And that was a great thing about Cemetery Illuminator, is because it's pseudo card draw in a way. Then eventually they wiped the Faithbound Judge. I played it the next turn, and then they got me down to about 3 life, and then I fucking won with the you win the game. Man, it was great. Yeah, the whole deck, it runs really well so far. Like I said, the results show. It's just a matter of time. I think the caveat here is I've been playing a bunch of random decks. People are brewing right now, so I think this is the best time to get wins in, is when a new set drops, because people just make stupid shit and they bring it to the ladder. Maybe this is one of the stupid shits, but I don't think so. I think sometimes. This is almost like mono blue tempo. It just has a spirit theme, and it works well.
I feel like I'm the exact opposite of you. I'm playing against all the people that are counting on that, and they're playing like solid decks. So I've been playing. I've played against maybe 1 or 2 brews, and a lot of like just mono red and like people that are just trying to play like very proven decks to just like take out all the the people that are playing their new jank or whatever. So it looks good. Okay, I have one question for you. It's What's like one of the cards that I am most iffy on in this deck, and because I was about to craft this today, but I wanted to talk to you first, which was the Spectral Adversary. I don't like that card, and I don't you're running 4 of them in this deck. I feel like there could be some better spirits in that, especially at a mythic. Do you think it's worth it to have 4 of those in the deck? How has that performed overall?
I really like it. So okay. I don't. You're not playing my B-roll, right?
No.
Okay. Well, so it's funny you say, you've only been playing solid decks. My B-roll is of 3 solid decks. I play. I'm sorry. I'll answer your question in a second. The first game is mono red. The second game is green white angel life gain. Yeah. The third deck is auras, and I won every game. Those are all solid decks, and I beat them all with this. And so that Spectral Adversary, I actually think this is a really good card, because out of all of these, I think they were all adversaries that came out of this set.
Yeah.
Out of all the adversaries, this is the cheapest one, I believe. If not this, maybe the white one. Share this.
They're the same, yeah.
They're the same. Okay. So what it does is it does 2 things. It either protects you, like your creature, or what it potentially does is it allows you to attack in, because this deck can be kind of aggro, and I've used it both ways. So you can use it on your opponent's turn when they're trying to remove one of your cards, or you can use it on your turn where you just need those extra couple points of damage to get through. Yeah. If they have a blocker, you can fucking bring it in and then exile something.
If you
phase it out.
If you have 4 mana though,
that's not a lot.
In this deck, it's this isn't a Azorius deck. I don't know. That seems like a lot.
I have 22 lands in here, so I mean I get there pretty easily. I chose 20, but 2 of my lands are spells. Yeah, no, I get there pretty easily. Like I get
Okay.
to 4 mana with this deck, and like, yeah, I really like the card. I think it's a really good card. I
Okay.
absolutely do. I stand by that. And it comes in, you know, for 4 mana, it comes in as a 3/2, and it protects something or gets that damage in, and like it helps.
Yeah,
I think honestly, the weak link here is Faithbound Judge. I think that's the weakest link in this deck.
Oh yeah, well it is more of an aggro deck. So yeah, like I was saying, I think that deck fits more, or that card fits more in a control style deck that's trying to protect, and then like finish off with like a weird win condition, like its secondary thing. Then yeah, in this deck. So yeah, I could see that. Yeah, that's interesting because like I haven't played with that one just because I was very unconvinced in like saving up 4 mana, because every time I play this deck, man, I have the same amount of mana. I maybe get 3 mana in this deck. It feels like that's about it. Yeah, that's about it.
With 22 lands?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Azorius deck's terrible at that. Well, you're, I guess, running Curious Obsession, which I'm not in my deck because I'm running the Spirit guy that what is it? He's like the bubble spirit where he counters basically the first thing that targets your guys.
The 3 mana guy. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I can't think of something Weaver.
Kiora.
Yeah, Kiora, exactly. Yeah, and so you can't use any auras if you're running Kiora because she counters whatever aura you target yourself with. So yeah, I mean it might be worth taking her out for Curious Obsession or like, especially with you're running more like auras in this deck, so it doesn't make sense to run Kiora in there. But cool, yeah, it looks good, man. The guy snare looks it looks good with this because you got spirits and auras and a decent amount of them. I like it.
Yeah. The one thing I did though was I took out 2 cards. I don't remember what 2. I think one of the 2 cards I took out was that white dude, the 4 mana defender. And I put in Selfless Spirit. I put in 2 of these, and that's the it's a 2 mana spirit with flying. It's a 2/1, and it says sacrifice Selfless Spirit. Creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Or was that it? No, I don't think so. It's the one where exiles a graveyard. Sorry, not Selfless Spirit.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
That's good. That's good in this format right now, especially with all the Phoenix decks running around and the Delvers and all that. Yeah, that's great. Having Graveyard Hate is always good. Cool.
Yeah, and that card is proven to be real. Yeah, exactly. It's been proven to be really good in our current format, where Delver and shit just like
I like it.
Really relies on that.
I feel like the same thing with the Spirit deck that I've been playing forever. Rattle Chains is the crux of that deck. It's such a good card. It's totally worth.
It's so good.
It's totally worth crafting if you have that. It it just enables the whole deck to, just to be able to like maneuver so well by being able to wait and see what your opponent's gonna do and everything. And then, the Guy Snare, I like it actually because it adds more of a cheap counter for board wipes and all that kind of stuff. So cool. I think it's interesting. I'm glad it worked out well because I love spirits, so I look forward to updating mine too. I don't know if I'm going to go with 4 Spectral Adversaries, but still not convinced on that one. But I'll try it out. I'll try 2. I'll try 2. All right, I'll try 2 and see if I like it.
Okay.
All right. Any last thing about this deck before we move into combat?
No, I'm super excited. If y'all have the wild cards, build it. If not, probably don't. Build elves.
I mean, this is pretty hefty for a drunken dork deck on the mythics, man. So many mythics in this thing.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah,
mythics are hard to get. That's what really prevented me from crafting it. I think I was like, I needed 8 mythics for it or something. I was like, oh, that's a lot.
The funny thing is, like, going into this set, I had like 6 rares and 20 mythics.
Oh,
and so
what?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
All right, big baller over there. Well, let's move into combat phase.
Dorkish combat.
And combat is our horseshit card game hosted by Drunken Dork. So take it away.
All right, everybody. This is the horseshit card game, and this week I am mixing it up, Hoshi. I'm throwing some different shit out at you and everyone who plays Jacavio. I'm looking at you because you have been posting like mad on our YouTube about
He's ready. He's ready, I think.
Yeah. I imagine he is like getting shit-faced hammered and going on and like watching us, watching the horseshit card game and being like, oh, I'm gonna fucking get this one, like amping himself up and getting it wrong. But
yeah,
I'm changing up this week. Usually, like, I pick a card that's not in Historic and you have to guess what it is. This week, I looked at MTG Goldfish, the top 10 cards in our format.
What?
Okay.
Okay.
And so I actually looked at the top 50.
Uh-huh.
But the game today is I'm going to name 5 cards.
Yeah.
And it's up to you to pick which one of these is not the top one in the top 10 cards used in Historic.
Okay. All right. I'm in. Let's do it. Okay. Take it away, man. Let's go. Let's do this.
Okay. So, and this is best of 3, by the way. So it's a little bit harder for you, I think.
Oh, okay. All right. Sure.
So the first card's going to be Mystical Dispute. 2 and a blue for an instant. And it says this spell costs 2 less to cast if targets a blue spell. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 3. The next one is Aether Gust. 1 and a blue for an instant. It says choose target spell or permanent that's red or green. Its owner puts it on top or bottom of their library. The third one is Klothys, God of Destiny. 1 red and a green for a legendary enchantment creature god. You know what this card does. I don't need to read it, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
The fourth one is a Braid. You know what a Braid does?
Yep.
And finally, we have Skyclave Apparition.
Yeah, I think we all know what that does. Oh man, this is tough because
so 4 of these are in the top 10, and then one of them is number 30 as of the time I was looking at it.
Yeah, so this is rough because I don't play best of 3 very often because Sakdos is one of the top decks in there, and I fucking hate that deck with a passion. So it is literally destroying that entire format for me.
You'd be shocked where those cards lie in the top 50 cards.
I would be shocked. So Klothys is one of the ones where I'm like, I know that Gruul is one of the top decks in best of 3, so I think Klothys might be in there, but it doesn't seem like it would be. Klothys is a very good card, but like sometimes it seems terrible. Man, Aether Gust and Mystic Dispute are both seem like they're like always in the sideboard. A Braid is played a lot. There's a lot of artifact destruction that's needed. And then Skyclave Apparition is an absolutely busted card, so I can definitely see that being in the top. Man, this is tough. Man, Braid is 3 damage to target creature and or destroy an artifact. So that I don't know. I'm gonna go with Klothys, I guess. I can't see it being in the normal standard Gruul set, I guess, in the top 10 that much. Is that really? Okay, fuck it. Klothys. It's got to be Klothys, right? Or a Braid. It's either Klothys or a Braid. I could think. Because Jeskai Control is almost definitely playing Aether Gust and Mystical Dispute. So, yeah. This is a tough one. Yeah, Klothys I'm going to go with.
So, I actually have the stats pulled up right here.
Okay, I hope so.
Their percentages.
Yeah.
So, Klothys, and then also choosing Klothys, Jacavio.
Okay.
All right.
Oh no.
How does that make you feel?
Oh no. Great. I think Jacavio is super smart, and I think he's turning it around this week. Me and him, we got it. So.
All right. Sweet. I'm happy for you guys. All right. Klothys at 23% of decks is absolutely in the top 10 cards.
Are you
That's wild, right?
Kidding me? No.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You lose. Good day, sir.
How? How?
Yes.
How are there that many Gruul players? What is going on in best of 3? Garbage format, as I've said. All right, go on. Which one? It's a braid, isn't it?
All right.
It's fucking a braid.
So at 13% of decks in Historic is Skyclave Apparition. This blew my fucking mind.
What? It's like one of the best cards in the goddamn game.
Dude.
What?
Dude, there's no way I had, like, when I saw this, I was like, that's insane.
Yeah.
You know, this is their stats. So according to MTG Goldfish, like it's not absolute. It's just like what their stats are. And, you know, Skyclave Apparition we have said it. We have mentioned this card so many times. It's some of the best removal we have in our format, period.
It gets rid of Clothis, that's for sure.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's great.
Man, that is surprising. That is very surprising.
Yeah. Jacobio says I'm rioting at Goldfish.
Yeah, right. Their stats are wrong. They have to be. I don't accept this loss. Me and Jacobio, they were calling a veto on this one.
That's fair.
Launching an investigation into these like shady workings of the of the horseshit card game. This is
ahead of time I didn't read how they get their stats. I know they also have like an Aether helper, like a MTG Arena helper.
A deck helper, yeah, they do, I guess.
So they get stats that way, and I think they also get stats through people just make decks on their website. So I think that's where all their stats probably come from. So just like douchebags making decks and douchebags using their apps.
Their website is like one of the few that's not like MTG sites that's not blocked at my work. So I don't know why it gets through the proxy server. So I'm like, that's like one of the few that I can actually look at while I'm there. So I'm on there quite a bit.
It is a great website. Yeah, it's really good. They have good articles. They have a lot of interesting decks on there, and they always have good like MTG data. So I like it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I question their stats though. All right. Well, how'd you guys do? Did anyone guess Skyclave Apparition is not in the top 10 cards? That seems super fishy. All right. Well, hopefully you guys got it. And with that, let's move into main phase 2.
Main phase 2.
I have fallen from grace. No, I feel like Drunken Dork. He's got to pull out all the stops and switch the game up to get me, though.
Basically, yeah.
All right. So
the meta shifting, I figured we'd do a meta shifting game, you know?
Okay. All right. Yeah, I like it. That was a good one. All right. So let's move into main phase 2, and that is going to be my deck that I came up with this week, and that is Orzhov Vampires. I mean, this seems like a very appropriate deck to come up with this week, and to prepare for it, I was playing Vampires like all week, and I had a lot of fun with the old Vampires that I was playing. They felt pretty strong, actually, and I was surprised at how like well they were actually performing most of the time. But then also, I got to see the shortcomings in that deck, and so I think that really helped me like build this one. And this deck has been performing very, very, very well. I've been playing a lot of the top meta decks, like I said today, and just absolutely blowing them out of the water. Like you were talking about Angels, like the life gain, I absolutely crushed them with like an 81. I had like 81 life at the end of it. So this deck.
Wow.
Has a lot of different angles to it, which I did not think it really was going to coming in. Now, one of the main cards that I built around this deck was, out of the new cards, is Welcoming Vampire, which is a 2/3 flyer that whenever a 2 power creature enters the battlefield, you get to draw a card, and it triggers once each turn, right? So that's a pretty cool card. But you mentioned like a downside of it is that, hey, if you play Lords in this deck, right, they will enter with a higher power, and then that won't trigger this thing. So I thought of an interesting way to get around that, which was by pumping up your creatures after they actually get into the battlefield. And there are some really good vampires actually that accomplish that pretty well. One of them is Cordial Vampire, which is an absolutely insane card that we just got from the recent Historic Horizon set, where it's whenever a Cordial Vampire or another creature dies. So any creature, put a 1/1 counter on each vampire you control. And so this stacks with like all of them. So if you have multiple of them, dude, this thing is nuts. Like if you block with any creature and 2 creatures die, all of your vampires get +2/+2 counters on them. This thing could like it just explodes. Your creatures get so big with this guy, and it doesn't hinder Welcoming Vampire from drawing you cards. And then the other one is Sorin Markov, which is the 3-mana. Oh, sorry, Sorin Imperious Bloodlord, which is a 3-mana planeswalker, which is just, he's so good. He is like probably, I would say, the best tribal planeswalker to ever be made, because he is really good as long as you have vampires, and he is absolute dog shit if you have no vampires on the field, right? Because he busts your vampires, he can sack a vampire and use it like as a removal spell to deal 3 damage to something. So he's like my main form of removal kind of in this deck. And then his -3 is put like a vampire from your hand onto the battlefield, so you can put like a big creature in there. And the main one that you use to do that is Champion of the Dusk, which is a well-known combo. It's a 5-drop, and you put them in for free, and then you draw that many cards and lose that much life for as many vampires as you have. So that card is great. All right, but let's talk about like what this deck has going for it, right? Mainly, it has Death Touch and Lifelink, a lot of it. It's got 4 Vampire of the Dire Moons. Okay, and then it has 4 Gifted Aetherborn. It has 3 Nighthawk Scavengers in there, and so all of those have Death Touch, and Lifelink, which is crazy. That it's so much like you've mentioned this before, that people play weird when you play Death Touch creatures. Like they don't know how to like attack in properly, right? And so having just an insane of the amount of these at your disposal like really puts your opponent in like a weird state, and you can gain a ton of life with this deck. The other new one that I put in here, which is one that you actually put in the horseshit card game, which has been performing pretty well, which also plays into this theme that I'm doing, is Indulgent Aristocrat, which is a 1-drop with lifelink, and you can pay 2 and sacrifice a creature and then put a 1/1 counter on each vampire you control. So this thing is great because you could sack itself to do that and then pump everybody up too. So it's been performing really well for me. I also have a couple Knight of the Ebon Legion. Those are great. 2 Adonto Vanguards, because like some strategies just cannot deal with that card, like mainly control strategies. They can't deal with it a lot of the time. And then I also have one, I got 2 Legion's Landings in there, because that's a great card that can turn into a land that can produce you vampires as well. And then let's see. Oh yeah, and then the other one that I have is Marvin Fiend, the Dust Apostle. And then I like one of him because he makes tokens, and Sorin can really take advantage of tokens to sacrifice them to like do spot removal on your opponent's creatures, or take out like planeswalkers, or go face. A lot of the time that's how I finish people off, is sack a vampire and deal 3 damage to their face. So Sorin does great for that. And then let's see, what other big things do I have? I think that's it. I included 1 copy of the new Edgar Charmed Groom. And
I saw that.
Yeah, not super impressed with him. And then I have 1 Sanctum Seeker, which I think is way better. So I feel like he is really like, and then I also have Sorin Vengeful Bloodlord, which is another Sorin Planeswalker, which is he gives all your attacking creatures lifelink, and then he can bring stuff back from the graveyard, and he can deal 1 damage to a planeswalker or person. So he's really strong, but I feel like him and Edgar are actually the weakest links in this deck. I feel like I would actually like some more low cost vampires, or maybe another Cordial Vampire to put in there, especially because I put like one edit that I did to this that you can't see, that I didn't update on like the online yet, is I put in Unclaimed Territories, because I realized like, hey, wait, these are all like the only thing that I have that really is a spell is Sorin. He's the only thing, and Sorin's like one of the ones that is my removal besides the creatures themselves. So so I put Unclaimed Territories in because it seems like a no-brainer. kind of at this point. So, Drunken, what do you think of this vampire deck?
Yeah, it looks cool. I agree with you 100%. Probably, what's his name? The 4-mana guy that you were just talking about. That you the few that you don't want, and you don't want Champion of the Dusk, right? You don't want that, and you also don't want Dracula, the Voyager.
Oh no, Champion of the Dusk, I absolutely wanted. That is one of the best.
Okay,
that's one of the best performing cards in the deck right there.
Okay,
it can draw you.
You didn't want Sanctum Seeker or Edgar, right?
Those no, I like Sanctum Seeker. I don't like Edgar, and I don't like and I do like Sorin Vengeful Bloodlord, but since I'm putting in the unclaimed territories, I think that could make him a little difficult to cast because of his mana. So I think since I added those in, I should get rid of him and put something else in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think the deck overall performs well. Like I said in the beginning, I also made a vampire deck, and Cordial Vampire performs really good. Gifted Aetherborn, also an incredibly good card. I think like if you're looking for something to draw you cards, something I put in my deck, which I like with vampires, because my curve is a little lower than yours, but it has worked well, is Asylum Visitor. Do you know that card?
No, what's that?
It's 1 and a black for a vampire wizard, and it says at the beginning of each player's upkeep, if that player has no cards in hand, you draw a card and you lose 1 life.
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah, I did see that one. And to respond, no, I don't have a problem with card draw in this deck anymore, actually. I did, and that was one of the main problems, I think, with vampires, right? It was like, Sorin sucks if you don't have any other vampires, right? So your card draw sucks. But with this deck, I'm drawing an insane amount of cards because of Welcoming Vampire and because of Champion of the Dusk.
Welcoming Vampire. Yeah.
Welcoming Vampire is the whole thing of this deck, right? A lot of the time I will hold it because it's more of a late game card. So I throw down a lot of my early stuff, and then Champion of the Dusk really comes in, restocks your hand, and then you could start dropping the Welcoming Vampires and then a bunch of like 1-drops, and then just and so Champion of the Dusk is insane. That card is so good.
Yeah, no, I've played against that many times. A lot of times people put it out with Sorin. That is how they cast it.
That's the combo, really. But I've hard cast it plenty of times with this deck so far. But the card draw is incredible. Like, because Champion of the Dusk really was the only card draw that the vampire deck had before, and then that one Asylum Seeker, I did play against that one, but your opponent has to be out of cards for you to be able to. It's a weird condition.
It happens. No, not your opponent doesn't.
Is it you?
You or your opponent.
Oh,
it's either or. So if you're playing against like hyper aggro decks, it punishes them. If you run out of cards, it also like helps you. So like. That's what makes it a good card. It's pretty versatile.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're drawing cards, I forgot. Welcoming Vampire is a really good card. And in your deck specifically, it works well.
It triggers all the time.
Now, how does Nighthawk Scavenger, is it like farewell in this deck? Is this a win con?
It is the win con. I actually want another one in this deck because it does so well, because it gets up to like 5, and then once you start pumping it up, it flies over everything. Like, people have a real hard time dealing with that. And it's one of those things too where you can just keep getting the damage. And the one bad thing about it is that sometimes it does not trigger Welcoming Vampire, but sometimes it does, right? Because it depends on the cards that are in the graveyard, what its power is going to be. So it can come in as a 1/1 or a 2/2 or 1/3 or a 2/3 easily and draw you cards. But if it's coming in with more than that, that's fine, right? Because this thing it's very powerful. I think it's definitely one of the finishers to this deck. That and the Sanctum Seeker is really good too, but I think Cordial Vampire is the one that surprised me the most, where like him in combination with Sorin being able to like sack a token or something, and kill something, and then everything gets 2 counters on it. And they lost usually a crucial piece that they had, and your vampires are just massive. You're gaining so much life, and you can just swing in, and then you can leave Sorin vulnerable because they really can't attack. If they attack Sorin, they're probably going to die to the vampires next time. So like you have a lot of weird angles with this deck. With the death touch creatures, makes it hard to attack in. They have to deal with the planeswalkers, and then they have to deal with the the insane vampires that are getting strong. There's so many of them that are good.
Jacavio says Abzan vampires for Coco. No. Right? No, I feel you, Jacavio.
That would be cool. The mana is rough in this deck because of like how many of the vampires require double black. So I kind of had to go hard. That's why I wanted to put Unclaimed Territory in here to make sure that I'm hitting those early mana drops, those crucial ones with like Gifted Aetherborn and stuff. What
I think the only problem I have with this deck, but it obviously hasn't been a problem with you, is just that there's like almost no interaction. Sorin, I think, is your only interaction in this deck. So like if you were to remove those two, maybe like add 2 pieces of interaction, because like I would love to see Thoughtseize in this deck. It's in the sideboard. That will really weaken the deck though, because in the early game, that's not what you want to be doing. You want to be dropping vampires and getting them down as quick as possible. The faster you fill up the board and you hit that Dust Champion, it restocks your hand. And if they wipe you, whatever, like you come back so resiliently. Even if they wipe you, you have a Danto Vanguard and stuff. I know that is your go-to is with the removal, but it really I encourage you to try this deck in the current state without fucking destroying it with all your dumb Thoughtseize and fatal pushes and stuff. Just try this pure, because that's a lot, man. It's asking a lot. Because
the removal is the creatures. They all have death touch for the most part. So, right? Like they kill anything that attacks in for the most part. Even like Sorin gives them death touch and lifelink. So he gives a Danto Vanguard like lifelink and stuff too. Like you gain so much crazy life. It doesn't really matter about your opponent's creatures that much. That's what I've realized is you can just keep swinging in, because people do not want to block like a 1/1 death touch and like lose their 6/6 or whatever they have.
I get that. I just see like a problem. I know a Danto does well against control, but if you don't have a Danto, I can see this deck like being, performing pretty poorly against control, just because control does what it does. It controls the board, right? And like none of the, besides a Danto, nothing has indestructible or green white enchantments. I could see being a problem with this.
I killed enchantments
just because of 9 lives combo. That like without having the interaction of Thoughtseize or maybe like I know it's not a vampire, but our favorite card, what the hell is it called? The one we were just talking about.
What's that?
In the horseshit card game. Skyclave Apparition.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Something like that. I don't know if there's a vampire that exiles. I don't think there is in our format, at least, or something, that's the kind of stuff that scares me. But the deck looks good. I like them. I like the all-in decks. I do like it. If I have the cards, I'll try it. I don't have a lot my rares right now, and this has a lot of rares in it.
It does.
I don't think I have Champion of Dusk in my entire card pool.
He's so crucial to this deck too. He is one of the ones that you really need to be able to get that card draw off. He's one of the ones where if you get Sorin down and you drop him down, people concede almost immediately most of the time, because they know it's just over. Like you have such a board presence and you've restocked your entire hand. That's why I'm saying like the thing with control is that this thing comes back super quick. You're drawing a ton of cards. Also, I put, the Castle Lochthwain in here, which is another card draw. You have so much life. And I have what is that? That land that pulls you cards back from the graveyard. And most of these are 1, 2, and 3 drops. So like I've hit like the full return of creatures with that land. Where is it? I'm trying to look for that land right now. It's one of the ones from there it is, Agadine's Awakening. There it is. That card.
Yeah.
That card performs really well in here. I feel like it's been pretty good. Now I think is in best of 3, totally. And if you see over on the right hand side there, I have all the Inquisition of Kozilek and Thoughtseize and stuff. And I do think that is would be better against running, like if you were going against auras and stuff. But I think if you put those in this deck, just in a best of one format, it's going to weaken the deck. It's going to weaken your win percentages. Sure, it would do better against that one specific deck, but overall it would weaken the deck, I think.
So here's the question. Final one. Have you played against elves, and how does it perform against elves? Mixed. I mixed
because I didn't draw Sorin in any of the games where I played against elves. So they all got their archdruids. So yes, I lost to them, but they were still they almost died, and I didn't have basically the best thing that's in the deck, which is Sword and Imperious Bloodlord. So I think I did pretty good against them. But you know, they're elves. they elf ball out, and they make like, you know, they hit you for like 200 damage. There's on turn 4. It's a crazy deck. Like it's, you know,
that's always, you know, my comparison. So they're like, that's always what I want to, like, when I make a deck or I'm playing a deck, I want to see how it performs against elves, because elves is it is the most played deck in our format.
Yeah, it's insanely strong. It's a turn 4 and it's easy win. Yeah, exactly. It can easily win on turn 4. And so I always like to know how these decks perform. That's why when S'mores and Bacon made the red deck, you know, I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. You know, it fucking wipes out elves. I will say, if you added red in your deck, there is that new red vampire board wipe. Have you seen this card? Red vampire board wipe. What? No, what is this? What are you talking about?
So yeah, the vampire deck I made is black and red. I didn't even use white. And so if you added red, it's a 3 mana instant, 2 in a red, deal 2 damage to each non-vampire creature.
Oh, I missed that. That's interesting.
and it's an instant. Like that's what makes it so that's incredibly powerful. Yeah. And like in my black red vampire deck, it performed well. Like I actually have a lot of the same cards. Obviously, none of the white cards, but a lot of the same black cards. It's very low to the ground, very aggressive. And then I just have that to like deal with elves. Now, I'm not saying, you know, do black red, but maybe if you added red, there's actually some really good black red vampires like together.
That's way too much. Like, yeah, sure, you could probably do that, but that pushes this deck into jank territory, where I think this is a solid. I think right now this is a solid competitive deck that will deal with most decks that you go up against. And if you do that, it'll work maybe well with elves, but dude, the mana base is just too rough with all the double costs that are in this thing, like the gifted
dude. But you could have all the shock lands because you gain so much life, right?
Just shock yourself to death.
I thought this deck gains you like life up the ass.
It does, but you'll die to burn before you have a chance to get anything on the ground.
Right. That's fair.
I mean, that could be fun. You know what? I'll try it out. But I have I know what's up. I'll try it out. You know what? If it's jank, sure. You know, let's go. I got to, because I
that's
saw
the Hoshi I know.
Yeah, I mean, you just called me out with the jank, so I gotta do it. And I do love Mardu, so yeah, it's a good call.
Yeah,
good call. All right, any last words about the vampire deck? Any other suggestions or anything?
No, it looks cool. Like I said, I'm gonna look at it after we get off, and maybe I'll try it. Yeah, I'm done.
Sweet. All right, dude. With that, then, let's move into our end step.
End step.
And end step is just where we talk about like whatever we got going on outside of, you know, magic, drunken. You got anything for this phase?
Yeah, I want to speak real quick.
Sure.
Horizon. What is it? Forza Horizon 5.
Really?
It came out this week. I'm not a huge car racing fan. I did play Forza Horizon 4 for a few hours. It was fun.
Yeah,
this game's incredibly addictive, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Like the first 30 minutes, like they're just like It's like this whole intro to the game, and it's absolutely ridiculous. They're dropping cars out of an airplane.
Oh,
you have
yeah.
a parachute. Have you played it yet?
I haven't played 5. I've played 4 though, and I think 3, and I love those games. They're super fun for like a week, and then I'm like, meh, okay. But yeah, they're incredibly fun. I got a wheel and everything actually.
You should try it out.
Yeah.
It's on Game Pass. It just came out this week. It looks incredible. It looks really good.
Those games are beautiful. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It plays well. It's a blast.
Nice, dude.
Yeah, I started playing it. I got addicted. I was like, one more race. I was like, okay, I gotta go to bed. I gotta stop doing this. I just gotta go to bed. But besides that, are we gonna do a post game?
I mean, we got to play these Crimson Vow decks against each other.
We got to play the new decks.
Yeah, we got to play the new. We got it, right?
All right.
Nice, dude. Yeah. For me, not too much. I bought a new tool chest, so I've been doing that most of the week.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. My tools are spread all over my room, so like I had to do it. And then I've been watching Squid Games this week too. I had to see what's going. Have you watched it yet?
Oh, I saw the whole thing in one day.
In one day?
Yeah.
Dude, what? That's crazy. Oh, we've been
I was doing
right
other things,
okay.
But like I was watching it while I was doing other things.
Yeah, it's intense. So yeah, I haven't been playing any other games really this week, unfortunately. But dude, brewing is going on this week with this thing.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Well then, with that, let's move into cleanup.
Cleanup.
And cleanup is our pandering stage where we talk about all of our social media stuffs and whatnots, so here we go. We got Rant on the YouTubes, so do all the YouTube things that everybody says constantly. And then we have a Discord, which is awesome. There's super cool people on there, like Chicavio, who's in our Twitch right now.
Very cool.
And hey, we're on Twitch actually, and we do this live, and then we are also on all of the podcast things out there. We're on Spotify and all the likes, right? And then also
Google.
yeah. And then we have an Aether Hub too, where we, our videos come up on there, and all of our decks and everything are on there too. So when we, we talked about these decks today, those are on there. Drunken, anything for cleanup?
Nope.
Sweet. All right. Well then, with that, let's move into the last phase of our show, which is discard.
Discard phase. Drink them up, boys.
And discard is where we pound the drinks that we've been drinking. I just opened a new one like an idiot, so we're gonna finish these off. Any last words to the peeps? Drunken.
Thanks for watching. I will see you on our Discord, Chicavio.
Definitely. Yeah, so thank you for watching, guys, and happy Veterans Day to everybody out there, and I hope everybody enjoys Crimson Vow. Thanks for all the likes and everything. So cheers, everybody, and we will see you again next week right here on Rant.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh God.
Why do we keep doing this?
Oh my God. It tastes so good though. I'm like, oh God, that's hard. But oh wait, it's peanut buttery and chocolatey and yummy.
Yeah, it's true. I did the same thing where it hurts before, but then the aftertaste is good. Am I being rewarded for my bad decisions? Am I? Jamie's shaking her head no.
No.
I feel like she's wrong though.
It'll catch up with you in pounds. You're definitely not being rewarded.